Welcome everyone to Gentle Yoga. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name's Micki, and you might be here live or might be doing the recording later. So there's a few props that I like to use in this class. One is a blanket. I also have this fancy cute chair that I just painted, so we can use a chair. I have 2 blocks and a strap. And then I also have a tennis ball. And I thought before we come down to the mat, we might spend a little bit of time grounding with the tennis ball. So I'm moving the tennis ball back to the chair. You can either do this seated on a chair, or if you want to just use a chair or a wall for support, that can help with balance. So I'm going to ground down through both feet. Start to just find your balance, either keeping your hand grounded or resting your hands at your sides. And you might take a moment to close down your eyes or soften your gaze and just feel a little bit of sway forward and back. Imagining you're able to find your center. And then we'll come back to center, and then you can start to just sway a little bit side to side. If you close down your eyes, you can challenge your balance here. And just notice how we think of the bottoms of our feet as flat, but you might just notice sort of a roundness to the bottom of your feet. And then you can blink your eyes open, find your center, and then you can either hold onto a prop or keep your hands at your sides. Sometimes you could even challenge your balance by just keeping your hand near a prop so that you could hold on if you needed to. And then we'll pick up the left foot, and you can bring the left foot onto the tennis ball and then start to glide your foot up and down the length of the ball. And like I said, you can do this from seated as well if you don't want as much pressure. So really start to send your breath all the way down into your feet. And along with your breath, you might imagine gratitude bubbling up from your heart center, trickling all the way down to the soles of your feet. And you might just even smile warmly upon yourself, thinking about all the places in your life that your amazing feet have taken you. Offering your feet gratitude. And then we'll take our foot back onto the ground or the mat. Take one more opportunity to just ground down through both of your feet. And you might notice subtle differences from left to right. And then you can also allow yourself to find that center place. And this time you might just, like a pendulum, sort of move around the outside until you can soften into the center. And notice that balance place is not really a fixed place, but a movement. Go ahead and blink the eyes open, and then we'll massage the other foot. So I'm going to move the ball over to the right foot, lift my right foot onto the ball, and then just take an opportunity to massage out the feet. You might just send your breath along with gratitude down to your right foot. Maybe explore balance by taking your hand off of a prop if you're standing up. Noticing what is required to stay standing. And you can even find stillness. Maybe you find some extra interesting places on the bottom of your feet. And you want to find a little bit of pressure in one place. And there's lots of different kinds of like tennis balls you could use. You could use a racket ball. At the yoga studio I teach at, there's also these squishy pink balls. They're like high bounce balls. And those ones are a little bit gentler if you find this kind of intense. And that's why if you sit down too, then you would have less pressure on the foot. Go ahead and move the ball off to the side. Bring both feet onto the ground. Once find your center. And then we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to start out class on our backs just to settle in and tune in. So I like to use my blocks, or you could use the seat of a chair. I'll bring my hands onto the block, walk my feet back, and then lower one knee at a time to get down onto the ground. And then you can walk your knees forward, swing your hips around to the ground, and then hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug here. Maybe rock a little bit side to side, massaging through the spine. And then you can gently lower your feet down onto the mat. Walk your feet as wide as the mat and allow the knees to tent in towards each other. Allow your hands to either rest at your sides, or you could sweep your hands to rest onto your belly. And this pose is called constructive rest pose. So just use this time to allow yourself to settle in and ground onto the earth. Come back to the soles of your feet. And then allow those bubbles of gratitude to rise up from your feet, up your shins, up into your knees, sweeping up the front of your legs, down towards your pelvis, up through your torso, and then land at your heart center. When you arrive there, imagine there's a little message for you. Maybe it's in a bottle. It's washed up onto the shore of the ocean. And feel your feet grounding down into the sand. As you rest here, you might even imagine your body is imprinting on the earth, just like you were lying on a sandy beach. Whatever message you found, you might turn that message into an intention for your practice today. Now imagine that intention is like a glowing jewel. Allow it to fill your whole heart center with light. And then with your next inhale, float your arms out wide to the sides like angel wings. Float them up and overhead past your ears. On the next exhale, you can rainbow your hands over your body back down towards your hips. And then a few more rounds like this. Float the arms out, big angel wings. Exhale, float the hands down next to the hips. Go ahead and take a few more rounds at the pace of your own breath. You might challenge yourself to move slowly. Breathe into the areas of sensation that might be in your shoulders, at your mid-back, under your shoulder blades. And then one more round like this. The next time your hands float down next to your hips, go ahead and we're going to reverse the direction. So we'll inhale, float the arms up and overhead, rainbow them over the body, and then go ahead and draw them down towards the hips with your angel wings, caressing the earth. You might even imagine yourself drawing snow angels. Oh yeah, it's snowing outside. With your arms. Maybe after this, you'll go and you'll lay in the snow and draw a few snow angels. One more nice deep breath. And when your hands land next to your hips, you can open your knees out towards the sky. And with your feet as wide as the mat, you can start to allow the knees to float over to the left. Open your arms out into a letter T and send the gaze over towards the right hand. On the next inhale, float the knees up towards the sky, and then exhale, land them over on the right side, turning your gaze over towards your left hand. And go ahead and continue this movement, rocking a little bit side to side. Hey, don't scratch that. That's my cat scratching on something. Sorry about this. I'm going to have to give her a little message. There you go. Take one more nice deep breath on each side, and then we'll hug the knees in towards the chest, and you might wrap your nose up towards your knees, coming into a little ball. And then exhale, land the head back down. But this time we're going to keep the knees lifted, and you can spread your hands out beside you with the palms facing down for a little bit of support. Notice if you can draw your belly button towards your spine and press your low back towards the mat. And then we're going to start a few rounds of toe taps. So on your next inhale breath, go ahead and lower your right toes down towards the ground, any amount, and then exhale, draw it back up into center. Inhale, touching the left toes, any amount down towards the earth. Exhale, draw it into center. Go ahead and take a few more rounds, following the pace of your own breath. And you can really pause in between, and maybe you only have a little bit of micro movement. Just only go as far as feels good to you. So you could just slide the knee forward and slide it back. Take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then with your next exhale, land the feet on the mat, lengthen the legs long, reach the arms past the ears. Find a nice long body stretch, and you might sigh it out through the mouth. From here, we'll take a little bit of a C curve, so you can lift your arms and your torso, slide them over towards the right, so you can find that nice C curve on your left side. And if you want to deepen the stretch, you might start to walk the legs over to the right, keeping your whole back body flat on the mat. If you want to deepen your side bend a little bit more, you could grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and then maybe you cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh or the left shin. Take another nice deep breath here. Send the breath cascading down the side of the body. And then we'll inhale, release, walk it back to center. Take that nice long body stretch. Maybe roll the fingers into fists. Rotate the wrists and the ankles, helping to lubricate the joints. And then we'll come back to neutral, and you can pick the torso up and just reach the arms over to the left, any amount to find that C curve. Nice length all along the right side. Allow yourself to soften and relax. And you might walk the legs over to the left. Maybe you cross the left ankle over the right shin. And you could grasp hold of the right ankle or the right wrist with the left hand. Some people call this a banana shape. So you can imagine yourself as a banana. And find some nice deep breaths into those areas of expanse. And then we'll bring it back to center. Take a long body stretch one more time. And then you can bend into the knees, plant the feet on the mat, and then swim the hands down towards the hips. Go ahead and press your palms on the earth. Step your feet onto the mat underneath the knees. You can walk your heels in towards your seat. And then we're going to find a few pelvic tilts. So imagine your pelvis is just like a big bowl. And you can imagine your tailbone is lifting up towards the sky. Point your sit bones up towards your knees and then draw the belly button in. On your exhale, or actually maybe it's more like your inhale. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forward. Pull your low back away from the mat. And then exhale. Yeah, exhale would be better. Tilt the pelvis back, spilling the contents back towards the back body. Engage through the core. Imagine you were able to lift the hips even a little bit without engaging the glutes though. How could you lift the hips just a slight amount using this corseted small belly core strength here? Then inhale, drop the pelvis down, tilt it forward. So you're going to just take a few pelvic tilts, tilting the pelvis forward and back. Finding that engagement in your deep core. As you move forward and back, maybe the next time you're lifting your hips, you might just go a little bit further, keeping the core engagement, softening through the glutes, and then tilt it back the other way. Go ahead and take a few more nice deep breaths, exploring the strength of your deep core muscles. And then one more nice deep breath like this. The next time you lower your back down to the mat, we'll interlace the hands behind the head, and you might take the thumb pads to the base of the skull, right there where your neck and your head meet. Maybe you want to just give the sides a little massage, gentle massage. And then we'll hug the knees in towards the chest. And you can either keep them at 90 degrees, or you can start to press the feet up towards the sky. And you can even just explore either option and decide which one is going to work best for you. So maybe you point the toes up towards the sky, lengthening through the legs. And then on your exhale, you can lift your nose. Inhale, soften your head back down. Maybe you try this with the knees bent. Lift the nose and gently settle it back down. So it's not really a crunch so much as just a lift. using the strength of the core, pressing the low back towards the mat. And you could also do this with your feet on the mat instead. So you might find a few more rounds of breath. Allow yourself to soften on your inhale and on your exhale. Just gently lifting the nose, not really using the strength of the arms, but just allowing for the strength of the core. Take one more nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, you can release your head back down, cactus your arms to the sides, walk your feet as wide as the mat, and then just take a little windshield wipers from side to side. Alternatively, you could take a long body stretch. So whatever would feel best for you and your body. Take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then we're going to plant the feet on the mat. Lower your hands down towards your hips. Press your heels into the mat. Slide your hips to the right. And then allow your knees to stack over to the left. We're coming into a twist now, so you can open your arms out into a letter T. Allow your gaze to soften over to the right. Take another nice deep breath here. And then we can find a little bit of movement for the shoulders, stretching through the core. So on your next inhale, float your right arm up towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, roll all the way onto your left side and reach the right hand past the left. And then we'll inhale, glide the arm across the chest, open back up into your twist. Go ahead and take a few more rounds of breath like this, following the pace of your own breath. Let's take one more nice deep breath. And then when you land on your left side, you can dial your left arm up so that you can either rest your head on your upper arm, your bicep, or you could plant your head on your hand, bending into the elbow. And then from here, we're going to do a few clamshells. So you can bring your knees out in front, have them bent at a right angle, and then you could stabilize by bringing your right hand in front, or you could rest your hand on your hip. And then we'll glue the heels together. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, gently lower. Take a few rounds of clamshells. And we do this pose to help strengthen the glutes. So maybe you can feel that strengthening. And you can always slow the movement down, being really mindful, sending the breath into the hip. And along with the breath, can you send gratitude there as well? Whatever you notice, try to greet it with compassion and curiosity. We'll take one more nice deep breath like this. And then on the next exhale, you can close down the knees. And then we'll glue the knees together and start to lift and lower the heel any amount. In fact, you might not go too far, otherwise I can tend to hear little clicking sounds, and that makes me think, I don't know if I like that sensation. Can you feel the strength in your glutes? And thank them for all that they do to support us. And then take one more nice deep breath. We'll close down that effort And then you can slide the knees back. So now your knees are in a straight line with the body. You might like to have a block or a pillow or a blanket if you don't want to reach your knee all the way to the floor. So I'm going to take this blanket just because it was handy and bring it out in front. And then you can bring your right hand to help stabilize you out in front. You're going to lift the right knee and then bring it out in front, either to a blanket or a block or the floor. And then you can bring your right hand to your right shoulder and start to invite that shoulder to open up and fall back towards the back body or towards the ground. It's not going to reach the ground. Just continue to cradle your head on your hand or rest it on your upper arm. And then this is totally an option, but you might reach that right hand back behind you. And look at that. There's your left foot. Maybe you grab hold of your foot with your hand, but if not, that's okay too. Just continue to reach in that direction. Now I lost my foot. Let's take another nice deep breath. And I've heard this pose called cat chasing its tail. And I just love that because, well, as you might know, I'm a cat lover. There's my little Luna up there. Look at my little black cat. Take one more nice deep breath. And if you have your foot in your hand, you might just grab that long toe, give it a little squeeze, and then gently release the foot. We'll come back onto the back body, hug the knees in towards the chest. And maybe you just rock a little bit side to side, or you might find child's pose, walking your feet up to your ankles, behind your thighs, or grab hold of the feet if that feels in reach. And this would be a good opportunity here too to use a strap. So if you couldn't quite reach the foot, you might take a strap and wrap it around the feet, and that could give you some length in your arms. I don't have my strap handy, otherwise I would show it. Where is the strap? Here it is. But we're going to get ready to take our twist on the other side. So that's good. I'm turning anyway. If you wanted to use a strap, though, for that happy baby, you could come onto your back and then wrap the strap around your feet. And you see here, I just have a little bit more length. And then maybe you rock a little bit side to side, just massaging the back. And then you can release the strap when you're ready. We'll land the feet on the mat, press into the feet to slide the hips to the left this time and allow your knees to float over to the right. You can find this nice big twist, allowing your arms to float out into a letter T. You might turn your gaze over toward your left hand. Just allow yourself for a moment to soften all of your effort. And then we'll create those little arm rainbows when you're ready. You can take a nice deep breath as you inhale, lift the left arm up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, roll onto your right side, reaching your left fingertips past your right hand. Then we'll inhale, sweep the arm across the chest, open back up into your letter T. And go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath, coming side to side, sweeping the arm across the chest. Allow yourself to breathe into any areas of sensation. One more nice deep breath. Sweep the arm across the chest. And then one more time, we're going to sweep the arm up and over, reach it past the right hand, and then we'll roll all the way on to our right side, or stay on the right side. And you can prop your head up on your hand or rest it on your bicep. And then we're going to take those clamshells. So go ahead and bend into the knees, glue the heels together. You can bring the hand out in front or rest it on your hip. And we'll inhale to lift the knee, exhale to lower. Go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath, bringing your awareness back into your heart center. You might imagine those beautiful bubbles of gratitude spilling forth from your heart, circling around your hip joint. And maybe you notice subtle differences from left to right. Maybe you can think of it like twins, your hips. So different and yet so like. Take one more nice deep breath like this. And then we'll go ahead and close down the knees. You can glue the knees together, and on your next inhale, lift the heel away from the opposite heel. And you can do this reverse clamshell, noticing where in your body do you feel these sensations. Notice your range of motion. We'll take one more nice deep breath. And of course, this is your own practice. So if you want to take a few more, sneak a few more in there, you can. And then we're going to stretch that out with our wonderful cat chasing its tail twist. So you can lengthen the legs long in front of you, or I'm sorry, the knees, kick the heels back. And then maybe you want something to help bring the earth up to you. You can either land this top knee on the ground or on a prop. So I have it now on the block. And from here, you could bring your left hand to your shoulder and start to open through your heart. You can either rest your hand on your head on your hand, or your head on your upper arm. And then you might reach the left hand back and down. Maybe you find that foot, your bottom foot, to grasp hold of. But no pressure. If it's not there, it's not within reach, that's okay too. Or you could take the strap and find a way to lasso the foot if you're really wanting that sensation. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried it with a strap, so I'm not sure how that would work. But I imagine you could lasso your foot. There it is. And then you have a little more length in your arm. Take another nice deep breath here, and then we'll release that. You can relax onto your back, hug your knees in towards your chest, and you might wrap the strap around the shins. And then this time, or another option is to bring the palms onto the knees. But I like the strap since I have it handy here. And you can just take a few circles with the knees. Breathing into the low back and the hips. And if you're holding onto the strap, maybe you can lighten the grip. Just noticing where you can soften. And then we'll reverse the direction of the knee circles. And from here, we're going to come seated. So you can either hug the knees into the chest. Maybe you rock and roll up and down the length of your spine. Or you can roll onto one side and then press yourself up into a seat. We'll move the strap off to the side for now. To find a comfortable seat, you can either use a chair or you can use a blanket or a pillow. So I like to take the blanket, I have this nice wool blanket, and fold it up so that I can make a little seat. And then I'll put that down and wiggle onto the blanket so that my hips are now a little bit elevated. And that can help when you're coming into a cross-legged position because it can help lengthen through your spine. But if you don't want to sit on the floor, a chair is also a wonderful option. So come to whatever comfortable seat that you would like, and then bring your hands onto your knees. Take a moment to soften the gaze, close down the eyes. Bring your awareness deep into your heart center. And then on the next inhale, we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to do a little bit of movement here with the spine, and typically we do these on hands and knees, but today I'd like to try them seated with you. So you can bring your hands to rest on your thighs, and then we'll press, or actually those are your knees, aren't they? Press into your palms, lift your heart, open through your chest, and then exhale, round into your spine. Draw your belly button towards your spine, and then we'll take a few more rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. Flexing through the spine, tilting the pelvis forward and back, similar to what we did on the mat. Take one more nice deep breath like this. And then we'll come back to center. Lift the heart, allow the shoulders to melt down the spine, and then you can lean your torso forward. And then go ahead and lean over to one side. I'm going to make a nice big circle with the belly button. Take your time, following the pace of your own breath, finding length and movement and mobility. Let's take one more nice deep breath in this direction. And then the next time your torso comes forward, go ahead and reverse the direction of your belly button circles. Take one more nice deep breath in this direction. And then when you're ready, we'll meet back up in center. So you might come forward, reach with your heart, and then lift through your spine, lengthen through your spine. And then let's open the right leg out to the right. You can bring the left foot to the inner thigh, and then we'll turn to face the right toes. Go ahead and wiggle the toes, imagining the toes are waving at you. And then we'll inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, float the hands down. And you can either bring them onto the mat. I forgot to grab my blocks. But another option would be to use the strap and wrap it around the ball of the foot, helping to melt the heart forward. So you want to think about lengthening through the spine and then bringing that heart forward towards the front knee. Then you might just make micro adjustments with your inhales and exhales, finding what feels good to you. And maybe at a certain point, you want to fold over that leg, relaxing any effort to stay upright. Then we'll inhale, walk it back to center. You can bring the torso forward, slide the right palm on the inner thigh, and then reach the left arm up towards the sky. And we'll fold over that leg, finding a side bend. A fun variation could be to bend into the elbow. And if you want to bring the shape up to you, you could bring a pillow or a block maybe on the thigh so that you could rest the elbow, allowing the head to rest on the fist or the palm of your hand, and finding length all along the left side. Take one more nice deep breath, and then we'll inhale, come back up to center, unwind, and then you can reach both legs out into a V. Find a nice wide-legged stretch, shake it all off, and then we'll bring the right leg to the left inner thigh. Go ahead and turn towards that left leg and just give it a little wave. And you could actually stay right here upright. But if you'd like, on your next inhale, float your arms up towards towards the sky, and then exhale, bring the hands down to frame the front leg. You could use blocks to bring the earth up to you, or maybe you lasso the leg with the strap. Just find some length here. At any moment, if it would feel good, you can exhale, fold over that leg. Allow your effort to relax. And then maybe you just find micro movements, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to fold. Take one more nice deep breath. And then on your next inhale, we'll walk it back up to center. You can inhale, float your arms up and overhead. Exhale, land the left hand on the inner thigh, and then allow the arm to graze down the inseam of your left leg as your right arm floats up and overhead. And maybe you want to take that block, rest it on your thigh, bend into your elbow, rest your head on your hand or on your knuckles. Reaching the right fingertips long, allowing yourself to soften here. Take one more nice deep breath, and then we'll inhale, come back up to center, stretch the legs long, give them a little wiggle side to side. And I can't believe that we've already come towards the end of class where we're going to get ready for Shavasana, corpse pose. So if there are any last shapes you would like to take before your final rest, feel free to explore those now. Maybe on the way down to your back, you want to just play around with boat pose. So you can press your feet onto the mat, sweep your hands underneath your thighs, and then maybe you just start to lean your back a little ways. You could even play around with releasing your hands, or maybe lifting one shin, both shins, just playing around with balance. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and roll onto your back. Give yourself a nice big hug, and then allow your feet to land. Stretch your legs long. And then maybe just allow yourself to soften here. Can feel a little bit more supportive for the low back if you wanted to take a pillow underneath the knees. That's sometimes what we use the bolster for. Or if you wanted to come into that original shape we started class in, constructive rest pose. So you could walk the feet as wide as the mat. Allow the knees to tent together. Allow your arms to rest heavy at your sides. Or find a traditional corpse pose, lengthening the legs long. And give yourself this time to rest and recharge. Bring your awareness into your heart center. Noticing that beautiful glowing jewel, your intention for practice. There's a quote in the book by Deborah Adele called The Yamas and the Niyamas, where she quotes Eddie Hillesum, a young Holocaust victim, who says, ultimately, we have just one moral duty: to reclaim large areas of peace in ourselves. More and more peace, and to reflect it towards others. And the more peace that there is in us, the more peace there will also be in our troubled world. Allow yourself to savor your own center of peace. Because you're in your own space, I invite you to stay longer, linger in your Shavasana. Allow yourself to soak in all of the benefits of your practice. Whenever you feel ready to reawaken the body, you're welcome to start to bring some movement into your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Find a long body stretch, reaching the arms past the ears. And then when you feel ready, you can roll onto one side, find a fetal position. Allow your head to rest on your upper arm. And then when you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. You can invite your hands to meet at your heart center, allowing your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. Om Shanti 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 means peace, peace, peace to ourselves, each other, and towards the rest of the world. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. And feel free to let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about class.